whatever she decides next has the ability to impact an entire country in ways no one could ever imagine.
Buying Team Namibia is a choice you make for us, not just for you. Join the 2.5 million strong team that grows stronger with every single Team Namibia purchase. Team Namibia. Together, our future is brighter.
Coming to you from our Aerospark studios here in the capital Windhoek, this is the Tuesday edition of Primetime News. Many thanks for tuning in. I'm Michael Madimba. Tonight's broadcast commences with the Middle East geopolitical tensions. United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres on Monday condemned the Hamas attack against Israel, but said he was deeply distressed by the country's subsequent imposition of a total siege on the Gaza Strip. Guterres stated that the humanitarian situation in Gaza was extremely dire before those hostilities and that it would only deteriorate exponentially. Diana Kauta filed our lead report.
Guterres began his speech by expressing utter condemnation of the abhorrent attacks by Hamas and others against Israeli towns and villages in the Gaza periphery.
I am deeply distressed by today's announcement that Israel will initiate a complete siege of the Gaza Strip, nothing allowed in, no electricity, food or fuel. It's time to end this vicious circle of bloodshed, hatred and polarization. The humanitarian situation in Gaza was extremely dire before these hostilities. Now it will only deteriorate exponentially. Medical equipment, food, fuel and other humanitarian supplies are desperately needed, along with access for humanitarian personnel. And I urge all sides and the relevant parties to allow United Nations access to deliver urgent humanitarian assistance to Palestinian civilians trapped and helpless in the Gaza Strip. And I appeal to the international community to mobilize immediate humanitarian support for these efforts.
Guterres said the UN will continue efforts to provide aid to respond to needs in Gaza. Reporting for Primetime News, Diana Kauta.
Back home, Commerce Governor Laura McLeod Kashirwa earlier today urged learners to be future ready and to cultivate the necessary skills to excel in the job market. The governor shared those sentiments during the first Commerce Regional Council annual career fair launch. Jaconia Nehemiah brings us this report.
McLeod Kashirwa stated at the career fair with the theme Inspired for Tomorrow that the time has come for pupils to choose the career path they want to pursue. Also at the launch, Commerce Regional Council Director Paulos Ngikembwa advised learners to be disciplined and focused and to refrain from indulging in activities such as smoking, drinking and using drugs.
Let the sky be the limit. Nobody is immune to good things. But we must decide. You must decide. What should happen with me? What do I want to become? What does the future hold for me? Who am I? Find yourself. Who are we?
And I always like to say the unfortunate part of life is that you will never remain young. You will be a husband, you will be a mother, you will be a leader of this nation. But you can only be the best of those, either a father or a mother or a governor or a leader, on what you are doing now. The foundation that you are laying now will have a greater bearing on your future.
Moving on. NAM Water, in collaboration with stakeholders including the Ministry of Agriculture, Water and Land Reform, hosted a workshop to evaluate the development and management of water resources for water security and climate change adaptation. The two-day national workshop on water security and climate change in Namibia commenced in Windhoek on Monday and concluded today. In a statement read on his behalf, Agriculture, Water and Land Reform Minister Kalle Schleitwein noted that addressing these challenges requires strong collaboration between the central government and other key players. Let's hear more on this report.
In the statement read on behalf of the Minister, NAM Water Chief Executive Officer Abraham Nehemiah stated that they need to move away from fragmented planning and need to work as a team. Schleitwein said the national water demand will be more than doubled by 2025 to around 583 million cubic meters and reach 772 million cubic meters annually by 2030. NAM Water Chief Executive Officer Abraham Nehemiah said the local water sector is faced with challenges of a shortage of water resources due to climate change, deteriorating water quality, system water losses, and limited skilled human resources. For Primetime News, Salima Shumwefeleni Masipa.
We now switch attention to the Oshikoto region, where the Ministry of Agriculture, Water and Land Reform has warned members of the public to stop grab and resettlement farms in the Oshikoto region. Ministerial spokesperson Simon Gipandulwa, in an interview with Primetime News on Monday, said the ministry has been informed of reports of illegal land allocations and the selling and occupation of farms located along the Tsumeb-Katwitwi Road, about 62 kilometers north of Tsumeb. Our Oshikoto region-based correspondent Thomas Gabriel filed this report.
Ngipandulwa said it has come to the attention of the ministry that certain persons, including some members of the Tintabes community, are involved in the illegal land dealings on the said farms, and as a result, a number of individuals have grabbed land illegally on the farms. He said the ministry urges members of the public who have plots on these farms to move out before the law takes over. Members of the public are reminded that only Ministry of Agriculture, Water and Land Reform Minister Kalle Schleitwein has the power to allocate land on resettlement farms, said Ngipandulwa. He said members of the public must also be vigilant and not fall victim to any illegal land dealings on these farms, and should report any person who deals in illegal buying or selling of land. Any member of the public who wishes to resettle on these farms are advised to go through the appropriate channel and to follow the set procedures, Ngipandulwa said. He said members of the Tintabes community and the public in general are encouraged to approach the Division of Land Office in Tsumeb or any other office of the Ministry of Agriculture, Water and Land Reform in any region to obtain information on the procedures to follow to apply for a resettlement farm or land. Reporting for Primetime News, Jaconia Nehemiah.
Up next is a business segment bringing you the latest developments in business and economics. Stay tuned. Welcome to the Primetime Biz segment, your premier source for the latest developments in business and economics. The Middle East geopolitical tensions between Israel and Palestine could precipitate a regional and global economic downturn. To gauge the extent the conflict could have on the global economy, I sat down earlier today for a tete-a-tete with Klaus Schadder, a local economist and public policy expert, for his insights on this and other matters affecting the domestic and global economy. Here is a portion of our exchanges. Now, we've already seen the economic implications of the Russia-Ukraine conflict. Now, the latest is what we've seen right now, the Palestine-Israel conflict. Could we perhaps see a doubling up of the fallout in terms of oil prices, food prices? What's your take on this?
The Palestine-Israel conflict is significant in the sense because it's close to some of the major oil producers in the world. The Arabic Peninsula, together with Iran, they account for almost about a third of global oil production. But the two, let's say, countries or the area, they are not directly involved in oil production. Israel has some gas production in the Mediterranean Sea. One of the platforms was shut down during the clashes with the Hamas group. The other one is still operating. So, of course, international markets have reacted immediately. That is natural, such an event. And oil prices have increased shortly after the news broke out, and also gas prices in Europe have increased. But it's not comparable to the war of Russia and Ukraine, because Russia is the main energy exporter. And so everything that affects Russia has an impact on the energy market. So not just on oil, but also on gas, on coal, other sources of energy. And the EU, the US, and other countries immediately followed with sanctions on Russia. So therefore, that has had a major impact on price levels for oil, for other food products, of course, grain, wheat exports from Ukraine, which that is one of the major producers worldwide, were interrupted. This area, Palestine, Israel, they are not neither a major energy exporter nor a major food exporter. Of course, Israel does export fruits, vegetable, and so, but not to such an extent that it will affect world markets. And although flights are currently interrupted between Israel and the rest of the world, but there are no signs yet that it will impact on exports or so. And overall, of course, it depends on all the impacts on global markets will depend first on the length of the conflict, and also whether it might spread beyond Palestine and Israel itself, and affect other countries also in the region. There were some clashes with forces in Lebanon to the north, but I think the major concern is really that countries such as Iran are getting involved. Hamas indicated they have the backing of Iran. So, Israel hasn't responded to these statements. But of course, then that would be a major escalation, and that will definitely have an impact on oil prices, because about 20% of total oil production flows through the Strait of Hormuz. That's the Sea between Iran and Oman very narrow, and anything that any security risk in that area can result in a disruption of oil flows to global markets. But we are not yet there. There are not even indications, and so far as I see it, the conflict is really contained in the region between Israel and Palestine.
Now, water reticulation continues to be a perennial challenge on the African continent, with many African governments making progress in that regard, albeit at a lethargic pace. It is within this context that African Development Bank's representative, Herbert Chinokoro, says the institution is committed to supporting the Namibian government in future interventions in the water sector. Speaking in the capital on Monday, Chinokoro, African Development Bank's senior water and sanitation engineer, said the support will assist the government increase access to water and sanitation services for 100% of the population. For more context, here is more.
Chinokoro said the support will further ensure sufficient water reserves for industrialization and land servicing and housing development purposes and enhance resilience to climate change in alignment with National Development Plan goals on environmental sustainability and resilience. The African Development Bank is currently supporting the Namibian government with $1.9 billion Namibian dollars and a $61 million Namibian dollar grant towards the water sector support program. Chinokoro stated the aim of the program is to increase access, quality, security, and sustainability of water supply and sanitation services in Namibia, and also to strengthen the capacity of sector agencies to deliver better services as a first step to responding to the threats of water scarcity and climate change. The two-day workshop was held under the theme Enhancing Synergies and Breaking Down Silos in Water Resources Management for Sustainable Development in Namibia. For Primetime News, Salima Shumwefeleni Masipa.
For the midweek weather outlook, let's now turn our attention to the weather forecast. Welcome to Sport Planet, your ultimate destination for everything sports related. Cricket leads tonight's slot. Namibia's cricket governing body revealed earlier today that its men's national team will host Zimbabwe for the first time in a 5-match T20 international series from the 24th of October to the 30th in Windhoek. Now, the last time Namibia faced Zimbabwe was in 2022 at the Queen's Sports Club in Bulawayo, Zimbabwe, where Namibia won the series 3-2. Cricket Namibia's marketing head Natalia Nauyoma said the upcoming series is more than just a clash between the two countries, as it will be used as a platform to prepare Namibia for the T20 World Cup Africa qualifiers. 7 teams are hunting for the 2 African qualifying spots for the ICC Men's T20 World Cup in 2024. Joining Zimbabwe, Namibia and Uganda at the regional final are 4 teams from across the 2 sub-regional qualifiers: Kenya, Rwanda, Tanzania and Nigeria. In November, the teams will meet in Namibia to decide the pair of sides off to the United States and the West Indies in 2024. On to continental football. Nigeria, South Africa and Morocco could be placed in the same group when the AFCON draw is made in Ivory Coast on Thursday. Now, the 6 top seeds include Morocco, who created history at the 2022 World Cup in Qatar by becoming the first semi-finalist from Africa. Nigeria are among the 2nd seeds, while South Africa have had to settle for a place among the 3rd seeds for the draw in Abidjan, the Ivorian economic capital. Add surprise 2021 Cup of Nations quarter-finalist Gambia from the 4th seeds, and it would be a striking group of death. The 2023 AFCON tournament will take place in Côte d'Ivoire in January 2024. Stay tuned for your sports roundup. Right, this is where we dock for the night. Many thanks for having cruised with me, from myself, Michael Madimba, together with my dedicated production team behind the scenes. Keep it cozy. Good night.